Hello everyone. Today let's have a look at the sharing of event revenues and expenses. Let's look at an example. In our case, I'm using the example of FIFA and the 2018 Football World Cup. So the event owner is FIFA, the host board is the Russian Football Federation, and the host government is Russia. Revenues from the sale of broadcast rights and digital rights are normally retained by the event owner. These are rights granted by FIFA for companies, broadcast companies, to beam the event live worldwide on TV, cable, and the internet. Revenues from non-local sponsorships are normally retained by the event owner. These are sponsorship agreements with companies such as Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Visa, MasterCard, Rolex, Mercedes, BMW, etc. These are international sponsorships. Local sponsorship revenues are normally retained by the host board. These are arrangements with local companies, and in our case, Russian companies that have sponsored the event. Stadium concessions are normally granted by FIFA to the host board, and the host board would normally retain the revenues from granting these rights. These rights include the rights to sell food in the stadium, the rights to sell merchandise in the stadium, the rights for betting shops to have outlets in the stadium. You could even grant rights to certain banks for them to have stalls for people to open bank accounts. The revenues from the sale of corporate boxes, corporate hospitality boxes, tickets, and merchandising. These actually depend on the sharing arrangement between the event owner and the host board. I've seen various combinations. For example, in the case of hospitality and ticket sales, it could be decided that the event owner keeps the hospitality revenues, whereas the host board keeps the ticket revenues. Again, it just depends on the arrangements between the two. Revenues from tourism, these are indirect revenues. Those are obviously a boost to the economy, and therefore it accrues directly to the benefit of the host government. So people will come to the country, fans will come in their thousands, they'll spend money on flights, they'll spend money on hotels, on accommodation, on food and beverage, on internal travel. They may decide to stay and tour the country, and therefore that revenue accrues indirectly to the host government. The host board may also feel some benefits from this as well, but mainly, obviously, it's a boost to the economy. Now, let's look at an example of how event costs could potentially be shared. The cost of the infrastructure, a huge cost in the case of the Football World Cup in Russia 2018. It's estimated that Russia may have spent up to $15 billion on upgrading their physical infrastructure. Now, this includes things like stadiums. Apparently, they upgraded or built 12 stadiums at a cost of $3 billion. They upgraded the airports, hotels, medical facilities, hospitals, power systems, I believe even sewage systems, and they built green zones and parks. So the cost of all of that obviously is borne by the host government. The event owner, as a rule, generally will not pay for upgrading infrastructure because they believe that this is for the benefit of the local economy and the country itself, and it will serve the country in good stead in the long run if they were to upgrade their infrastructure, and the benefits of this will accrue to them for many, many years. The cost of broadcasting the event on television, the TV production costs, will be borne by the event owner. The costs of marketing will be shared between the host board and the event owner depending on what arrangements are entered into. Arrangements with international sponsors and international companies, the cost of those will be borne by the event owner, and the costs of marketing local companies and products will be borne by the host board. The operational costs are normally 100% borne by the event owner. These include costs such as the air travel of the teams, the accommodation of the teams, and the costs of the match officials, the referees, etc. The match day costs again are borne by the event owner. These could include the costs of the floodlights at the stadium, the cutting of the grass before a match starts, or the water that's provided to the players at halftime. The costs of security again is borne by the event owner, but obviously this is a huge operation and will involve the host government and the local municipalities and the police, etc. Taxation, I've put this down because events such as the FIFA World Cup and the Olympics are normally granted a tax exemption by the host government, and therefore the cost of that tax exemption, the opportunity cost, will fall on the host government. So these are some of the major revenues and expenses of hosting a major event, and just an example of how these could potentially be shared. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.